Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Today I'm going to be doing the next 6 stages of the Fanhome build of the world of Warcraft Lich King. Pretty apt that I'm doing that today, because if you're in the EU today, the midnight pre-order, if you've done that, you can do player housing now, and I believe that was available for you folks in North America yesterday. So after this stream today, I'm going to be making my own house in Warcraft, and obviously there is an expansion coming in March, which I'm looking for, which is the midnight expansion. But today we're back to expansion number 3, which was Wrath of the Lich King. As you can see, we are making the Lich King. Now, where did we get to in the last pack? Well, basically, we were creating the buttocks, which is here, which is the thigh. But looking at the parts I've got here, I think we may add some stuff to this, but it does look like we are going to be creating the other shoe or foot, looking like that. But great build this is. Just showing you some of the parts that we've already built. Obviously, the starter Frostmourne there, which lights up by pressing the button there. Looking pretty good. We haven't done any of the blade or anything like that yet. If you want to get this for yourself, you will have to check if this is available. I have put a link in the video description, and there's also that QR code on the screen. But without further ado, let's get cracking. So we're going to start with stage 21. Here is the magazine. Now, as I said in past videos that I've done, magazine is available in the UK. I don't think it's available in the US, but it may be. You need to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure it's digital only in the US. But we've got the upper part of the legs here that we're going to be doing. We're going to be adding these to what we've just created there. So it's looking just like that. This is going to be a nice quick stage. So to that end, here is stage 21. Bringing over the buttocks. This is all metal, by the way, so it's very heavy, very heavy. I'm going to be putting in these plates. Now, I've got a right and left hand side. So the right hand side is obviously going to go on the right inner thigh here, just like that, which means the left hand side is going in this side over here. Once again, these inners are metal as well. Open up this GM screw here, and then each side is going to have 3 of these GM screws. So I've just done that side. Let me just do this side here. And there's the last one just going in here. And now all I've got is these support blocks. These are plastic. They're just going to go into the 2 lugs that we've got in the inside here. So one this side. Perfect. And then one on the other side here. So they should fit flush in there just like that. And with that done, that's all there is to do in that stage. So stage 22, I'm guessing we're going to be starting the other foot. Let's have a look. Yep, the right shoe and heel. Looking like this. Putting this together. So I think we're going to be whizzing through the rest of this pack now. Now obviously the main body of the shoe, foot, whatever you want to call it, is one massive block of metal looking like this. This is going to add some weight for stability as well, I think. But excellent. So just opening these parts up here. And the first thing I've got is a horn, which is actually just going to be going onto this section here. It is shaped, so this can only go in one way like that. It's held in from the other side with an EP screw. So just holding that in there. And then that is how that's looking. We don't actually put this onto this section here because that is all there is to do in that stage. In stage 23, here are the instructions. And again, we've got the toe of the right shoe now. That's looking just like that. And again, here's the rest of the instructions. I do like these books. There's a lot of Azeroth and World of Warcraft lore in there. If any of you actually play Warcraft, just so you know, my character is called Hawkstarn. That's Hawk as in the bird, and Starn, S-T-A-R-N. I'm actually on the EU-Aerie Peak server. So if you see me in game, say hi. Okay, I'm going to be putting these on, but I just want to check that I'm putting the right horn in the right place here. Looks like that one's going to go in there, because again, I'm holding these in with EP screws. I think I'll have better control of this with my normal screwdriver to get these in. This is going to be a bit fiddly. But that should look like that. Put the other one in, kind of holding this in place to start it off with the tip of my finger, and then I can hold it this way to stop it moving around, get that nice and tight. I want to line up the shape of how that goes in, and when that's done, it should look like that. This is going to be going onto the shoe, so this is going to go on the top just there. This time I've got these FP screws, which allows me to hold this from the other side, and we need 2 of these. Last one just going in here. With that done, that's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, stage 24. Here are the instructions. And we've got a spring-loaded system here where we're going to be creating the pivot for the ankle. And that's looking like that. And here's the rest of the magazine. I love the way this build is doing the joints here. It's very clever. I don't think we've had any model do it this way. And basically what we're doing, these are all metal here, but I've got this section here which ends in a point, which actually just goes down here. So it's going to act like a little ratchet system. As you can see, it's coming out the bottom there. For that reason, I've got to put a spring just on top here, and I'm going to be closing that off with this section just here. So now that's providing sort of like a part which is going to stop a ratchet from moving, but it will have enough effort that I can pull it around. Very clever the way it does. BM screws here. Dropped it in a bit of oil because we are going into metal, but that's going to hold that spring into place. And just get the one in this side as well. As a matter of fact, I can probably use my PH1 screwdriver for this, just to ensure that's in nice and tight. Now this is going to be going into the shoe. So there is a way this goes in. They're slightly different in the holes. So if it doesn't fit one way, turn it round so that this can actually fit flush in there. Holding that in with these flanged EM screws. So one there. And one just down the bottom there. Perfect. And with that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. So stage 25. Here's the instructions. Looking like this, and again we've got the other side now of that joint, putting this all together just like that. So that's how that's looking. We're not actually attaching this to the shoe yet. And here's the rest of the magazine. So I guess we are revisiting old ground here, because obviously we've done one of these already. This is the sole of the shoe, and again it's a solid piece of metal which has been beveled up already for us like that. I'm going to be putting this into place. So this is actually just going to be going on top here just like that, and it's held in with FM screws. So one in there, again my PH1 long shaft screwdriver to get that all the way in, and the second one just there. Perfect. Now with that on, I don't actually need this anymore. It does sit perfect on there. Keep that to one side while I just create the rest of this joint now. Now I'm going to do something the instructions do not tell us to do, but I'm doing it anyway. And that is, we've got to put these little things in here into these sections, but I am putting a touch of glue in them because I tend to find they do fall out. So I'm just going to get them in here. We don't really want them falling out, you see, so I don't think it's going to hurt. gluing these into place. What you do want to ensure though is that they do fit flat in there like that. And then I'm going to do the same on this side just here. And when I say I'm gluing them in, I really am not going over the top with this glue, just enough to ensure that these don't fall out. Perfect. So they're in on both sides. And we want to keep that safe for the next stage because that's all there is to do in this stage. So the last stage of this pack is stage 26. Here are the instructions. And we've got the strapping here. God, we've got loads of things that we're actually going to be putting into place like this. So by the end, this is how it's looking. This is the rest of the magazine. So I'm guessing this is the fiddly part of the build. Make sure when you cut through the page to get this out, we don't go through this leather strapping. And look at that. Great material there. Looks like a faux leather. So what I want to make sure is that I've got this round the right way. Because obviously you could have it that way, or you could have it that way. Now thinking about how it's going to be going onto the boot, I'm thinking it's going to look better that way. Because I'm looking at the folds over the top here. So if that's the case, then we need to put this section that we created on the front. Which means it's going to be going on this way. And I'm just lining it up with the holes here. Just like that. Now, in this bag, you can see I've got a plate that's going to go over the top here, like that there. And then I'm holding it in with EP screws. Now, this is quite tricky because when you do this, you just get this into position. You don't want to put this on your desk because obviously there's a chance you could break those horns on the other side. So, putting this in by lifting it up. So just looking at how this is, I am just going to take this back out again. I've put this upside down and I'll explain how I know that in a second. There we go. Now the reason I knew I had that in the wrong way round is because when this is on the front like that, we want these parts here, you see they've got holes in them, to be at the bottom, not the top. So now that is the right way round. The reason for that is because obviously we've got these skulls to go in. They are going to go into those two holes there. And again, making sure these are the right way round. And I've got some flange screws, which are GP screws, to hold these into place. So, one there. And one there. And then on this side, doing exactly the same thing. So now we know these are all in the right way. I'm going to bring over the boot. And I'm going to put this into place, how it goes. Just like that. And then I've got these grips here to ensure I put this in the right way. So first of all, I've got a long bracket here, which is going to go through the hole of this leather strap and into the two holes on the front of the boot there. And then I've got some smaller ones, which are going to be going into the sides and in a similar way plugged into the holes that I've got on the side here. So one in there. And finally one in that side there. And with that in, that is all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. So obviously we've done the right shoe and we've done the left shoe, and that's exactly how it's looking. There we go. That was a quick stage today, nice and easy. So we have got two shoes, and we made a little bit more progress on the metal, very heavy buttocks. If you want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description, but I really hope you like that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.